Shalom, Most High in Christ bless to everyone. Um, Today is February 3rd, 2024, and we are in the building. All praises to the Most High God, all praises. We give all glory and honor to our Father in heaven. We give all glory and honor to Christ our King. That's right, the Black Messiah. We acknowledge and we salute, we say shalom to the bishops all over. We say shalom to the deacons, to the captains, the officers, the soldiers, and the brothers, whoever they may be, of the house of Israel, all 12 tribes of our forefather Jacob. Likewise, we acknowledge the mothers, the sisters, the wives, the daughters of Israel. We say shalom, Most High in Christ bless to each and every last one in their respective places. We're going to get started with the laws. Every single week, we have created this, I guess, call it a tradition. And the basis for why we do what we do is found in the scripture, but we're going to start with the reading of the laws, where we're going to read the laws for about 5 minutes. We won't provide any commentary. We're just going to simply read the law as is. And then after that, we're going to get into the topic. It's Acts chapter 28, verse 21, as to why we kind of take this approach to our classroom session where we spend 5 minutes or so of just reading the law. Acts chapter 28, verse 21. And so, but again, we're just going to simply read the law, get into the topic, and enjoy ourselves in the Word of God. Like, subscribe. We're going to see you at the other side. Let me get out the way. Let's begin with the laws. The laws, Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences, and be conversant in dark parables. He shall serve among great men, and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he hath tried the good and the evil among men.
Not to bear a grudge. Leviticus 19 and 18. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
To learn Torah, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
To honor those who teach and know Torah. Leviticus 19 and 32. Thou shalt rise up before thy hoary head.
Before the hoary head.
Before the hoary head, thank you. And honor the face of the old man, and fear thy God. I am the Lord.
Not to inquire into idolatry. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 4. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Lord your God.
not to follow the whims of your heart or what your eyes see. Numbers 15:39. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go whore.
Not to blaspheme. Exodus chapter 22, verse 27. But that is his covering only. It is his raiment for his skin, wherein shall he sleep. And it shall come to pass, when he crieth unto me, that I will hear, for I am gracious.
Not to worship idols in the manner they are. Exodus 20:6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
Not to worship idols in the four ways we worship God. Exodus chapter 20, verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Not to make an idol for yourself. Exodus 20:5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Not to make an idol for others. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 4. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Lord your God.
Not to make human forms even for decorative purposes. Exodus 21:21. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money.
And we will start with 31 next time, Lord willing. We'll start with 31 next time, Lord willing. All right. So today's topic, class, is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar? Okay. Let's start in the book of Maccabees. Let me get it up and going. Give me 1 second here. Book of Maccabees. And we're going to 2nd Maccabees, chapter 3. You in the mood for reading?
I'll try to shape it.
Okay.
Book of Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 1. Now, when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well because of the godliness of
Onias.
Onias, a high priest, and his hatred of wickedness. It came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place. and magnify the temple with their best gifts, insomuch that Seleucus of Asia, of his own revenues, bear all the cost, that cost belonging to the
cost belonging to the
first time.
cost.
Cost belonging
Read it
to
again,
the service.
please. Read it again, please.
Insomuch that, so say that again.
Seleucus.
Okay, Seleucus of Asia, of his own revenues, bear all the cost belonging to the service of the sacrifice. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about this disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, if I said it right, he got him the Apollonius.
He got him to Apollonius. Let me.
Yes.
Okay. Let's back up a little bit. Let's reread. I'm going to start at, this is 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 2. It came to pass that even the king themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts. All right, so here the children of Israel, the temple, everything is looking good. Everything is gorgeous. So you got everybody coming and things are looking great. Verse 3. Insomuch that Seleucus of Asia, of his own revenues, bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. Okay. So he's paying the bill. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Thracias. So now here you have this Israelite who's mad, Simon. He's mad with the high priest. But the high priest got stuff. He is doing things righteously. He's doing things righteously. Okay. Which is why the temple was looking beautiful and so forth. The high priest Onias. This is why, because God said, if you do things as I have instructed you to do things, then you're going to prosper. People are going to be at peace with you, so on and so forth. Now you got this wicked Negro, Simon of the tribe of Benjamin. He's salty. Okay, verse 5. And when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Thracias, who then was governor of Seleucia and Phoenix, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money. So this dude telling all the secrets. Hey, look, at the temple, there's a lot of money. Go there and sack it. Go there and overrun it. Go there and do what you will. And you'll find a lot of money. This is what this dude Simon is doing. A Benjaminite. Verse 6. And he told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable. and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hands. Verse 7. Now, when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus, his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. Hey, Heliodorus, I need you to go there and sack the temple. I'm told there is a large sum of money there, and I need you to go and get it. Now, these are Greeks that are doing this, right? The only person that's an Israelite is Simon the Benjaminite. So forthwith, Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Cilicia and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money and declared wherefore he came and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children. He says, hey, I understand y'all got all this money. Is this true? Yes, it is. But this money is for the widows and fatherless children. So we're not splurging this money and doing what we will. We are using this money as a means of helping the needy. Right? Because let me get this scripture. This is not in my notes. Go to come on, man. I don't want scripture. This ain't the scripture I'm trying to pull. I'm looking for the one. Bear with me. There we go. Go to Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy, chapter 15. And start at verse 3. I'll read it. Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 3. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release, save when there shall be no poor among you. So only when there is no poor among you, will this, not until there's no more poor among you, is this law then done away with. Verse 3, what we just read in verse 3, right? So here we go. Let's start at verse 1. Chapter 15, verse 1. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release, right? So here's the law. And this law is dealing with credit. This law is dealing with credit. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. So at the end of 7 years, don't go after your brother and say, hey, you know you owe me $5, $500, $5,000, $50,000. At the year release, let it go. Leave it alone. Right? Verse 3. Of a foreigner, thou mayest exact it again. But a person that's not an Israelite, you continue to say, hey, you owe me $50,000, brother. But that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release. But what you gave to your brother, your fellow Israelite, let it go. Let it go. Verse 4. Save when there shall be no poor among you. So only in the instance where there is no more poor people among the children of Israel will, at the end of the of release, then you come to them and say, man, you know you owe me $50,000. Why? Because there's no poor among the children of Israel. Brother, stop fronting. Stop the cap. You know you got that, man. Right? For the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. Okay? And let's jump down to verse 7. And is verse 7? No, I want verse 11. Verse 11. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy hand. But the scripture just now in verse 11, regardless of what verse 4 said, verse 11 said, the poor is going to always be among you. The poor is going to always be among you. So in Maccabees, what is the high priest Onias doing? He's saying, hey, yes, we storing up money. We're not trying to be shiesty towards the Greeks, towards the Romans, but this money is to relieve the widows. Why? Because there may be poverty. This money is to relieve the fatherless. Why? Because they're going to be among you. Okay? Okay? So here we are. 2 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 11. And that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Simon had misinformed. The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold. He says, some of this money is to relieve the widows, to relieve the fatherless children. Some of this money belongs to Hyrcanus, the son of Tobias, the high priest Hyrcanus. Okay, verse 12. And that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place and to the majesty and invaluable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment, gave him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury. You know what? I don't care how much money it is. You gather that money, you bring me that money. You tax the heck out of him and get that money. He owed taxes. Verse 14. So at the day which he appointed, he entered in to order his matter. Wherefore, there was no small agony throughout the whole city. But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in their priest's vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to he kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. All right. So he says, so Heliodorus, working on behalf of the king, he's going to come and do what he needs to do, right? But the high priest, he's going to continue to try to uphold our laws, right? Verse 16. No, yes, verse 16. Then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now in his heart. You mean to tell me you're going to come and take all this money? No, this money is for what I said. How are we supposed to serve the people if you're going to come and take everything that we have stored up? Why? You can't do that. Verse 18. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication because the place was like to come into contempt. And the women, girt with sackcloth under their breasts, abound in the streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates, some to the walls, and others looked out of the window. So now everybody is rallying together, meaning everybody, meaning the children of Israel. They're rallying together, praying for some kind of what's the word? Intercession, some help, that God is going to intervene. That's what I'm looking for. That God is going to intervene on their behalf because of this evil that is now staring them in the face, right? This dude, he wants the money. I want everything you got. I come to tax you. You owe me money. I come to collect on behalf of the king. Verse 20. And all, holding their hands toward heaven, made supplication. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. They then called upon the Almighty Lord to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. He came into the temple and he took. He came into the temple and he took. Verse 24. Now, as he was there, present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of God and fainted and were sore afraid. So they saw a vision. Let's look up the word apparition. Let's go to dictionary.com. Let's look up the word apparition. Okay. So according to dictionary.com, apparition, a supernatural appearance of a person or thing, especially a ghost, a specter of or phantom, wrath, right? So in other words, you know what this was? The word is apparition, but basically their eyes was opened up to see into other realms. Just like when we read about in let's get that. Bear with me. Is that it? Go to, I believe we want to go to Judges chapter 6. I think that's where we want to go. I think that's where we want to go. No, where is this at? You know, when he was on the horse and the horse saw
We said,
his
speaking,
um
that's what we talking about?
he says, and the horse said, "Why are you hitting me?"
Yeah, in the, cause the horse seen the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one when it says, the dumbass speaking,
That's
that's in,
it's in Judges.
it's Judges. It is in Judges. I think you're chapter 5. Come on, let me see it.
There we go. Numbers. There it is.
Hmm.
There it is. Numbers 22. Thought it was in Judges. It's in Numbers. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's go to Numbers chapter 22 and verse 23. It reads, "And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself unto the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. And he smote her again, and the angel of the Lord went further and stood in the narrow place where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with his staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, "What have I done unto thee that thou hast smitten me these 3 times?" And Balaam said unto the ass, "Because thou hast mocked me. I would there were a sword in my hand, but now would I kill thee." Balaam, man, he mad, right? And the ass said unto Balaam, am not ein thine. I want to get to the point. Verse 32, verse 32. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee because thy way is perverse before me. The point being, right? The horse was able to see that other dimension, and it wasn't until Balaam's eyes were open that he too could see that other dimension. So here, because everybody in Maccabees, everyone is praying, because the high priest Onias, he's like, what is this evil? The money that we have, I haven't deceived you. We told you that this money is to relieve the widows and the fatherless children. We also told you that this money, a sum of this money belongs to what's the dude's name again? No, Hilodorus is the dude coming to get the money.
Oh, okay.
He's the Hyrcanus. We told you that some of this money belonged to Hyrcanus. So John Hyrcanus, that's who that is. Okay. So what's the deal, man? What are you doing? That would, like America practicing eminent domain, coming to say, you gotta go. We're at war and we taking this house. What? Yeah, you gotta go. Get out. You got 5 seconds to leave. So here they are, they're praying. Everybody praying. And now, with that prayer, their eyes, they can see into that other realm. Okay? Verse 25. For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Hilodorus with his 4 feet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. So imagine that. The thing that the man is sitting on, the harness, right? That's on the horse. That thing is made of pure gold. They said they used the word it seemed. It seemed. Okay. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side and scourged him continually and gave him many sore stripes. Who are these 2 young men? Who are these 2 young men? Judah and Israel. Because this is an apparition that Hilodorus is seeing. This is an apparition. So Judah and Benjamin, the 2 olive branches, meaning the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Okay. Verse 27. And Hilodorus fell suddenly unto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter. Right? Thus him that lately came with a great train and with all the guards into said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons. And manifestly, they acknowledged the power of God. So they weren't able to get they came there to get the treasury. They came there to tax. But because the people moving in righteousness prayed, everybody prayed, the women and so on and so forth, right? God intervened. Hilodorus was unable to complete the task. Verse 29. For he, by the hand of God, was cast down and lay speechless without all hope of life. But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place for the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble. When the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Why? Because everybody is on one accord. Everyone for the sanctity of righteousness, for the glory of the building, the money, what the money is for. The money wasn't to lace Onius with a pink Cadillac. The money was so that the people, the children of Israel, the motherless and the fatherless children, would be, their needs would be cared for. He wasn't riding around in a pink Cadillac of that day, shucking and jiving. Have you ever been swallowed? he wasn't shucking and jiving, man. He was really doing the work of the Lord. Let's continue. Verse 31. Then straightways certain of Hilodorus' friends prayed Onius that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the ghost. So now they come to they come to Onius. Pray for Hilodorus. We know he was going to do you wrong, but pray for him. He's about to lose his life. That's what they're doing. 32. So the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Hilodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Right? So what is he doing? He's playing politics. Onius is playing politics. He's playing smart. He says, if I don't do this, I know that this white man, that this Greek came on behalf of the king to take all the money we have, came to tax us. That's what he came to do. But if I don't pray for him, the king is going to believe that we've done something ill to his man. Then we're going to have more trouble on us than just they coming to take some money. They coming with swords the next time to chop off our head. Let me offer a sacrifice for this wicked man. Okay, verse 33. Now, as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Hilodorus, saying, Give Onius the high priest great thanks, insomuch as for his sake the Lord hath granted thee life, and seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of God. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Hilodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onius, returned with host to the king. So he left, right? And now, as the chapters continue on, beyond chapter 3, the plot thickens. But we're just looking at chapter 3. Verse 36. Then testified he to all men the works of the great God, which he had seen with his eyes. And when the king Hilodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged. If he escape with his life, for in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of God. For he that dwelleth in heaven hath his eye on that place and defendeth it. And he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sort. Okay, and then so we go into chapter 4 where the plot thickens, right? So here this Greek, he's like, yo, leave them alone. Don't mess with them, right? Which is the same thing we read about in the book of Judith when it came and said, hey, if these people are standing in righteousness, leave them alone. That God will fight for them. So, but if they moving in wickedness, you can come against them. But the high priest Onias, he was moving in righteousness. So he's moving in righteousness. Everybody else is moving in righteousness, right? Now, was 100% of the people moving in righteousness? We read earlier that all this drama kicked off because you had one wicked Negro, right? Simon, the Benjaminite, who got mad because Onias wouldn't give to his request, right? Go to Ezra. Before we go to Ezra, I want to look at this. I'm going to Google, and so pay attention to the question I put in Google. Okay, what country has no property tax? You think about that, right? You own a house, you own some land, and you pay no property tax, right? So there are, I think, these countries pay no property tax. Cayman Islands, Fiji, Dominica, Malta. Let me open it all the way up. I think there were 9 or 7, I think. I counted earlier today. Okay, but these countries you don't pay property tax. You own, and what got me thinking about this was I had a conversation with a gentleman earlier this week, a Nigerian brother, who said to me that people in Nigeria, they don't pay property taxes. When you own your land, your house, whatever. Now, I find it funny that Nigeria does not come up as one of these countries. I find that interesting. But, I'm not Nigerian. I've never been to Nigeria. So who am I to argue with this man other than what I can pull up on the computer, right? But that got me thinking. And here in America, we tax. We are taxed. Now, who's not taxed in America are veterans. Veterans, Where is it at? It was it was veterans. It's veterans. Let me do it this way. Um, this is for the state of Missouri. There was one that would show. Okay, here we go. This might be it right here. Okay, this is it. This is it. This is it. Bear with me. Bear with me. Don't give up on me, good people. Okay. How veteran property tax exemption work. Many states offer exemptions solely for disabled veterans. However, every homeowner's situation is different. Here are some important things to remember about property tax exemptions. Common exemptions include veteran, disabled veteran, homestead, over 65, and more. Not all veterans are or homeowners qualify for these exemptions. Exemptions can vary by county and state. You may be required to renew your exemption benefits annually. Okay, so, but again, if you're a veteran, you can, living in the United States, you can potentially get away with not having to pay property taxes, right? But everybody else, you got to pay property tax. You owned your land for 100 years now. You the fourth generation owning that piece of land. You still paying property taxes. You the second or third generation owning land. You got to pay property taxes. The house, the land, the house has been paid off for the last 50 years. You got to pay property taxes. When we were in our own land, let's go to Exodus. Go to Exodus. Chapter 30. Let's see what verse you want to be at. We're going to start at verse 11. Okay, Exodus chapter 30, verse 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number, then shall they give every man a ransom for his soul, that the Lord, when thou numberest them, that there be no plague among them when thou numberest them. This they shall give every one that passeth among them that are numbered, half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 gerahs, and half shekel shall be the offering of the Lord. Now, a shekel, by definition, is the weight of a silver coin that is equal to 4 ounces. A shekel is a silver coin that is equal to 4 ounces. So half a shekel is 2 ounces of silver. So 2024, let's go back to Google. Look at Google. Price of silver per ounce, $22.88. We need 2 ounces. We need half a shekel, right? We need half, so $25. No, I'm sorry, $45. $45. I'm rounding it off. I'm rounding it up. Okay, $45 is what you got to come with. But let's go back to the text and see what, let's look at the text. Okay, this is Exodus chapter 30, verse 14. Everyone that passeth among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto the Lord. This is the money that you're bringing to the sanctuary. This is the money this is the money that Onus, the high priest Onias, was collecting, shall we say, right? Verse 15. The rich shall not give more, the poor shall not give less than half a shekel. So I don't care if you well off, you don't have nothing at all. So if you have nothing at all, then I guess you got to turn, one of your brothers will have to give you that $45 so that you yourself can give that $45 in the sanctuary. Because all the men got to show up to the sanctuary 3 times a year. Where am I at?
16.
Okay. 15, right?
15.
The rich shall not give more, the poor shall not give less than half a shekel, when they give an offering unto the Lord to make an atonement for your souls. And thou shalt take the atonement money of the children of Israel and shalt appoint it for the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, which is what high priest Onias was doing, that it may be a memorial unto the children of Israel before the Lord to make an atonement for your souls. So how many times do you 3 times in a year you have to come to Jerusalem, right? So if that's all that you're given, how bad is that for a property tax, shall we say?
$135.
Okay, because you're doing 45 times 3, right? Somewhere. I mean, we just rounded. But did y'all see what's going on in New York, where they have a congestion tax? A population congestion. So if you come in there on a motor vehicle, you paying some $22 every time you come into this area, right? Let's say you come into Florissant, because I don't know New York. So let's say you come into Florissant, and they got cameras at all of the intersections that bring you in and out of Florissant. So we know when you come and when you leave. And you got to come in there to conduct business, let's say. Every time you come in there, $22. That's $22 times 5 days a week. $22 times seven days a week. And if you own, they had a dude, a little child, like a teenager, on a scooter, that was like $2 or something like that. to come in on the scooter.
Mhm.
Like a little motor, I think it was like a motorized scooter or something. Right. So it's seeing you, they got cameras taking a photograph of your license plate. Now, as far as the folks on the scooter, I questioned that too. I don't know. Right? But in this land, you get taxed for everything. You get to, and if you are poor in this land, and come on, let's be honest, who makes up the poor population in this country?
White people.
Right. So
Mhm.
we pay a double tax. We pay a tax for the color of our skin. Okay, so now let's go to Ezra chapter 7, verse 11. Book of Ezra, chapter 7, we're going to start at verse 11. Okay, and so now here is when the children of Israel, they are coming out of the Persian captivity. Was this the Persian captivity? This is the Persian captivity, and they are being put back in their land. Okay, chapter 7, verse 11. Now, this is the copy of the letter that the king Artaxerxes gave unto Ezra the priest, the scribe, even a scribe of the words of the commandments of the Lord and of his statutes to Israel. Artaxerxes, king of kings, unto Israel the priest, a scribe of the law of God of heaven, perfect peace. And at such a time, I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. For as much as thou art sent of the king and of his 7 counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem according to the law of thy God, which is in thine hand, to carry the silver and gold which the king of his counselors have freely offered unto the God of Israel, whose habitation is in Jerusalem, and all the silver and gold that thou canst find in all the province of Babylon, with the free will offering of the people and of the priests offering willingly for the house of their God, which is Jerusalem. Of the people that want to go freely, let them go. With your gold and with your silver, let them go. That thou mayest buy speedily with this money bullocks, rams, lambs, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, and offer them upon the altar of the house of your God, which is in Jerusalem. Go and do your sacrifice. Go and do your oblations. Go and do your supplications. Go and do. Those that are willing, of a free will mind to go and do, let them go. I, the king Artaxerxes, I'm giving you a free pass to go. Verse 18. And whatsoever shall seem good to thee and to thy brethren to do with the rest of the silver and the gold, that do after the will of your God. And whatever, so after you have used the silver and gold to purchase your animals for your sacrifices, and then you got however much you got left over, do what you will with that money. Do what you will with that money as you see fit, as as it pleases your God. 19. The vessels also that are given thee for the service of the house of thy God, those deliver thou before the God of Jerusalem. And whatsoever more shall be needful for the house of thy God, which thou shalt have occasion to bestow, bestow it out of the king's treasure house. And I, even I, Artaxerxes the king, do make a decree to all the treasures which are beyond the treasuries, which are beyond the river, that whatsoever Ezra, the priest, the scribe of the law of the God of heaven, shall require of you, it be done speedily. Unto 100 talents of silver, and to 100 measures of wheat, and to 100 baths of wine, and to 100 baths of oil and salt, without prescribing how much. Whatsoever is recommended, whatsoever is commanded by the God of heaven, let it be diligently done for the house of the God of heaven. For why should there be wrath against the realm of the king and his sons? Why should I have God angry at me? Let this man you go do what you need to do, brother, right? Hey, you go and do what you need to do. I don't want your God angry at me. Verse 24. Also, and this is the point that I want to get to. Also, we certify you that touching any of the priests and Levites, singers, porters, Nethians, or ministers of this house of God, it shall not be lawful to impose toll, tribute, or custom upon them. Right? You can't charge them a tax. You can't charge them a toll. If they want to come and go, you cannot charge them. If they want to be in this area, be in that area within Jerusalem, you can't charge them. Do not charge them tribute or what have you. This is God showing favor to us, to our ancestors, our forefathers in this day, at this time, provided we keep the commandments. Look at verse 25. And thou, Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God that is in thine hand, set magistrates and judges, which may judge all the people that are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of thy God, and teach ye them that know them not. And whosoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death or to banishment or to confiscation of goods or to imprisonment. That's the judgment. Death, banishment, confiscation of goods, or we throw your butt in jail. You break God's laws, one of these four things is what's going to happen to you. This is Artaxerxes is not an Israelite. This is a man of another nation, a king of another nation. But he knows the power of our God. Okay, go to First Esdras. Now we're going into the Apocrypha. First Esdras. Esdras and Ezra are the same individuals. Esdras and Ezra are the same individuals. So here is the same account in Esdras. First Esdras chapter 8, we're starting at verse 21. Verse 21. Let all things be performed after the law of God diligently unto the Most High God, that wrath come not upon the kingdom of the king and his sons. I command you also that ye require no tax. Here use the word tax as opposed to toll. No tax nor any other imposition of any of the priests or Levites or holy singers or porters or ministers of the temple, or of any that have doings in this temple, and that no man have authority to impose anything upon them. Okay? Now, let's go to Matthew chapter 22. But the tides had turned. We went from Babylonian captivity to Persian Mede captivity. And it was us coming out of the Babylonian captivity. Cyrus comes and takes over the Babylonian captivity. And then so now we become subjects to the Persians, Persian Mede captivity. Okay. And following the Persian Mede captivity, then we get hit with the Greek captivity and then the Roman captivity. And at the time period of Matthew chapter 22, this is during the Roman captivity. Okay, which to this day we have not been fully relieved of. We've not been fully relieved of the Roman captivity. Okay, so here we are in Matthew chapter 22, and we are starting at verse 17. Okay. Tell us, therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? Right. Here the Pharisees being wicked, challenging Christ, knowing that if Christ says, no, don't give to Caesar, that's going to cause an uproar. And the Romans are going to come, and the Romans are going to pursue Christ. So what does Christ say in verse 18? But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he said unto them, whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. Right? This is how Christ dealt with that situation. This is the land you live in? You live in America? Is America charging you taxes? Pay the man the taxes you owe. Is that Abraham Lincoln on the money, on the face of the money? Is that Grant on the face of the money? Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God. What belongs to God? Your duty. What is your duty? Let's get that. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 13. What is your duty, Israelite man, Israelite woman? This is tax season coming up, right? So Christ said, give to Caesar what is Caesar, but give to God what is God? Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This is what the Bible tells us, that we have to, the whole duty of man is for us to keep the commandments. How can we keep the commandments if we don't know the commandments? If you're not learning the commandments, how can you know whether or not you're keeping them? You got to know what they are to know what to practice. How can you know what sin is unless you learn? Okay. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 23. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 23. Okay. And when ye shall come into the land, and shall have planted all manner of trees for food, then ye shall count the fruit thereof as uncircumcised. 3 years shall it be as uncircumcised unto you. It shall not be eaten. So God says, hey, I'm going to take you into your land. And when you come into your land and you plant a pomegranate tree, an apple tree, a pear tree, a peach tree, yada, yada, yada. He says, hey, for the first 3 years that it produces, it's unclean. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. But then after that, enjoy. Enjoy. Don't forget that a tenth, the first of the first fruits, get that to the priest. Take that to the sanctuary. Get that to the priest, right? But even there, we read in Deuteronomy chapter 14, what were they doing with it though? They themselves, they was eating it too. So it wasn't like it's a total loss. You know, you take this 10 and oh, that's just going to somebody else and I don't benefit nothing. No, you too, you was eating that food, you know? Okay. Go to Leviticus chapter 23. And verse 10. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 10. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, ye shall reap the harvest thereof. Then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, right? So what is it saying? You're going to also enjoy these things. You likewise, you're going to enjoy these things. Go to Proverbs chapter 3. And we're starting at verse 9. Okay. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. We've lost this. We have lost this sense of sharing. We've become very stingy, selfish. Mine, mine, mine. No, you can't have. You know, gross poverty will do that to you. Mine, mine, mine. And that's how we are. Crabs in the barrel. Crabs in the bucket. We get mad if we see one of the crabs on the brink of getting out of the bucket, not knowing that that crab might be the crab to help the rest of us out. Come back and drop a ladder down for all the other crabs to climb out. Right? That's what gross poverty would do to you. But we have to get back to remembering and applying this right here, verse 9. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 2. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. Then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. Sabbath is not on Sunday. Sabbath is not whatever day of the week you want. Sabbath, first and foremost, Sabbath is the seventh day of the week. Then now let's read this particular Sabbath that's right here. Verse 3. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard and gather the fruit thereof. But the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. So that 7th year, every 7 years, right? You're letting the land rest for those 12 months. You're not going out there with a hoe and a pick and turning the soil or doing nothing. You're not tilling whatsoever. You have your storehouse, your cellar. Help me out with the words I'm looking for, y'all. Where you put, you're gonna store your food in, okay. But there's a modern word I was looking for. So, but during that 7th year, you got your canned goods, everything, your preserves, and that's what you're gonna feast on. A pantry, a cellar, but okay.
Cellar is the same thing, basically.
And that 7th year, that's what you're feasting on for 12 months. The things that you stored up in that pantry, in that storehouse, in that cellar. Why? You're allowing yourself to trust that God is going to provide. Because the fear would be, I need to store more. I need to store more. That I need to store more. That's a spirit of fear. That's a spirit of fear. Not trusting that God can will provide everything you need,
Mhm.
right? Go to Isaiah chapter 1, verse 26. Isaiah chapter 1. Actually, I want to start at verse 24. Therefore saith the Lord of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of mine adversaries and avenge me of mine enemies. And I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy tin. This is what he's saying to the children of Israel. I'm gonna purge you. I'm gonna rid me of all my enemies and adversaries. All those other nations that have touched you and you have turned to, I'm gonna get rid of them. And I'm gonna purge you of that wickedness, that wicked heart that you had in your mind. Verse 26. And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. So he says we're going to be restored as at the first. Here we are in this state of poverty in 2024. Because I don't care that Tyler Perry has purchased 300 acres of land. I don't care that Oprah Winfrey is worth, I forget now, $6 billion, $7 billion. I don't care that Cat Williams is worth, I think, $20 million or something like that. In other words, all these folks within that belong to the house of Jacob, with all that money, you still poor. With all that money, you're still poor. So I'm going to restore you. And I'm going to put judges as in the first, folks that know my law, and not some folk who get up there and say, have you ever been swallowed? When that dude said that, you know, that was terrible that he said that. Because, yeah, he said that.
He was doing a sermon. Right.
But the way he said that, he was revealing some stuff.
He answered his own question. Have you ever been swallowed?
I saw the caption the other day. I knew it, but I didn't know he said that.
Oh, he was telling on himself. Now, I don't know TD Jake, so I don't know what the man has done, what he has not done. This is my opinion. This is my interpretation. This is not me saying this is what I know he has done.
Legend.
This is right.
What they keep saying.
This is just my opinion. That he was telling on himself. He was telling on himself. And what's my point? My point is when we look at Isaiah chapter 1, verse 26, and I will restore thy judges as at the first. We got to believe that. We have to work toward that. How do we do that? Well, we read it early in Ecclesiastes, but this is the whole duty of man. So we read in Maccabees that everybody prayed. When was the last time you prayed for the Lord to deliver you of something that you know is out of order? You dealing with prostitutes, you know that that's out of order. You practicing homosexuality, you know that it's out of order. You contemplating how you gonna steal this, steal that, steal this. When's the last time you said, you know what? Let me turn to the Lord and ask the Lord to deliver me of these thoughts, to deliver me from this behavior. Right? Okay, go to Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 7. Okay. And I will cause the captivity of Judah and the captivity of Israel to return, and I will build them as at the first, a mighty nation, a God-fearing nation. This is what the Bible is telling us. Go to Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 15 through 17. In those days and at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. Who are we talking about? Christ. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. For thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. This is the place we want to get back to, but we got to do the work. We must do the work. It ain't gonna just happen and when you sitting on the couch. Go to Ezekiel. Go to Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 23 through 24. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. And I, the Lord, will be their God, and my servant David a prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken it. And sure enough, Christ, when we read in both Luke and Matthew, Christ comes from the loins of King David. So this passage is telling the truth. Okay? Christ is our King. Christ is that one that is going to lead us out of this hellhole that we are now in here in 2024. All that drama going on in Israel and Gaza, in Yemen and Iran and all this, this is just sit back, eat your popcorn, because we on our way there. We're on our way there. Our deliverance is close at hand. Go to Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 24 through 25. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes, my statutes, my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. America is not our final resting place. This just says they shall dwell in the land wherein your fathers have dwelt. Jerusalem is our home. That's our land. These wars, these rumors of wars that we are experiencing right now, this is all for us. This is all for us. Let me continue reading. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever.
Some people interpret that scripture wrong.
Right, they do. We're not talking about Christ. Is who they're talking about. My servant David, they're talking about Christ, because Christ descended from David. So to say that Christ and then to come around, but that says David, it's not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. Because Christ coming from David, therefore makes Christ the heir of that which David had. Okay. Go to Ezekiel chapter 45, verse 8. In the land shall be his possession in Israel, and my princes shall no more oppress my people. And the rest of the land shall they give to the house of Israel according to their tribes. This stinginess, this selfishness, this me, mine. No, that's not going to be in your heart. That is not going to be in your heart. You're going to be looking out for your brother and sister. And that starts now. It's right now that we must foster that spirit. Right now, February 3rd, 2024, right now, we must start fostering that spirit. Get rid of that selfish mine spirit. Get rid of that spirit where I don't care about 50 years from now. They can do what they need to do in 50 years from now. No. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So we got to start thinking 7 generations into the future. Start asking yourself this question. 100 years from now, if you're 20, let's say you're 20, then 150 years from now, I want you to take out a piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, it might sound like I'm about to be contradictory to myself, right? To all that I've been saying. If you're 20 years old, I want you to think 150 years into the future. And on this piece of paper, I want you to be extremely selfish. I want you to write everything you would want, desire. You would want or desire 150 years into the future, such that if you were living 150 years into the future, how would you want it to be? What do you want? Now, I say 150 years if you're 20 years old, because now we assume that 150 years, you have already, for natural causes, you are deceased. So now, in this one moment of time, you hear me saying, take out a sheet of paper and be extremely selfish and write down what you want, right? Because now you have to think about, well, shoot, I know I'm gonna be deceased. You got to think about the conditions for your offspring, for the future generation, how you want things to be set up, the policies that are going to govern the people in that time. So right now, be extremely selfish. As for me, when I write it out, first and foremost, I'm thinking, well, I want my son and my son's son to live in a situation where God's laws govern the way they get down. That's first and foremost. Next thing I'm thinking about is, well, I want for my son and my son's son, I want them to no longer be in a position where they are oppressed, where if they have a business idea and they go to the bank is turning them away. I want them to have the confidence. I want it to be such that they are in a position to pursue whatever they want. These are kind of some of the selfish things that I think about. But remember what the first thing that I said was that God's laws, his statutes, is the thing that is governing the way people get down. Now, if you're being selfish and you write this out, what this exercise will cause you to do, because if you're being honest with yourself, that means you got to make decisions right now, today, in order for the things that you wrote on that piece of paper to come to fruition. You can't go and say, well, I'm gonna buy me right now today, because you're being selfish for today. And you didn't think about the effects it'll have on the tomorrow. Okay? And we'll close out here. Go to Proverbs chapter 8, verse 16. Okay? By me, princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. So whether you like it or not, the Most High God is on the throne. He does reign supreme, and he has made it such that Christ is the king. And so, as of right now, Joe Biden, this elderly man, rules the most powerful nation on the face of the earth, the United States. Joe Biden said, we're going to retaliate for the lives of those three soldiers. Iran said, and we're going to retaliate too. And they both said, we don't want war. But then there are the analysts who say, the United States understands it cannot win. If it gets into a war situation with Iran, it will not win against Iran. Iran is going to cream the United States. So what does Biden do? He strikes Syria and Iraq. He didn't hit Iran. But where does this go? I don't know. But I do know that the prophecy in 2nd Esdras, Iran and the Arab world, the Arabs, are going to join forces against this nation. By me, princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. And with that, we say, well, before I say shalom, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Reach out, because if you're not here in the building with us, you need to be here in the building with us. Now with that, we say shalom. Most High in Christ bless.